Hi everyone, welcome to the Albans Property Network. We've got the Talk the Expert, which is Richard this week. Richard,
Hi Z.
thank you so
Very good
much.
to see you.
And Richard, tell the audience what you specialise in. What's the magic that you do?
So the magic that I do is I help people that startups or wanting to scale their business. And property is our niche. So we have a range of different services for people that want to really scale and grow their property business.
Excellent. And you specifically do it via the Philippines, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So these are the businesses here. So we've got Vavavum, which is a virtual assistant business where we recruit and train virtual assistants in the Philippines. We have Answer for Business, which is a virtual reception service.
Wow.
And we have Your Virtual Marketing Team, where we do branding, websites, all sorts of digital marketing for people.
So I'm getting this as you help property entrepreneurs who've got portfolios or aspirations portfolios to systemize their business.
You've got
get
it.
out of it. The
That's
back end's
right.
covered, and they can do it in a
So
cost-efficient way.
yeah.
And that's how they can scale.
That's it. They're just worrying about the high value stuff, not all the time consuming urgent stuff that has to be done on a daily basis.
Do you have like a 24/7 service? Is that how they work?
Yeah, they work.
Do you have like a call center, or do you have?
We have all of the above. So Answer for Business is a
Wow.
call centre, which is where people they take calls 24/7.
Wow.
Okay. When we recruit for somebody a virtual assistant, they become part of your team, part of your business, and those virtual assistants will work whatever hours you want them to work.
And what kind of cost are you looking if you had a full-time virtual assistant? What kind of cost are you looking at?
Well, we don't recommend you have a full-time. What I would say is for most people when they're starting out,
Yeah.
we recommend they start out at something like 25 hours per month.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they add on to that as they grow and scale. And £25 an hour a month costs £260 per month.
To them.
So, to them,
Wow.
to the client. So you can get back 25 hours of your time for £260.
And that covers whatever you want to cover, basically, in a
Yeah,
business.
well, pretty much. I mean, we have general administrators. That's the rate
Yeah,
for general
yeah, yeah.
administrators. We do have specialist people who obviously they demand a bit more
Of
because they've got
course.
more experience, more background.
course.
They specialise in something in one particular discipline. But we recommend that most people, when they're starting off, they start off with that 25 hours a month, and then we can take it from there. And we've got many companies where they're just replacing their full-time office staff with virtual assistants in the Philippines.
Wow.
So
This is huge value, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you want to dabble in property, you want to scale. Richard's the man. We're going to put him in the comments as well. And the link, this is what we call value. This is Albans Property Network. Me, difference maker these days. Richard, thank you so much.
thanks very much,
And
Lee.
I'm sure you're going to get a lot of expertise with the guys and ladies who come here today.
We've got a lot of clients in here tonight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much. Hi everyone, we're here with Steve, if I get my name right here.
Indeed.
Steve is an entrepreneur and he's looking to get involved in property or has started some projects. Steve, nice meeting you.
And you, sir?
And Steve wanted to share some of his stuff. So currently you're in the employment world
I am
and you're
indeed.
looking to grow more in the property to have additional income. Is that the journey that you're looking at the moment?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm employed.
Yeah.
I'm looking to transition out of that
Yeah.
so we can get a combination of passive income, get a positive cash flow, and start actually, if I can, give back to my community at the same time.
Wow. So you're going to try doing a few things. Is there a certain type of property strategy that you're looking at?
So at the moment I was thinking of doing a flip with a joint venture,
Yeah.
and then maybe do a buy to and hold, like a buy to let, flip, hold, and then maybe about 18 months after that, a HMO.
So a bit of advice here around tax and accounting and finance. We love giving it free advice here to the entrepreneurs is when you do a buy to let, right, try to think about a limited company and a structure.
I've already set up the limited
You don't
company.
want to, that'd be an investment structure. If you're doing flips, they consider property development because you're going to sell them, yeah?
Yep.
They're treated totally differently.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily do it in the same structure.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on your longer term aspirations, because property development and investment definitely don't have them in the same company, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, because it affects VAT and all the different aspects depending on what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, so a bit of advice. Also, really think about how you want to grow your wealth and what you need now, because many people don't think about income, wealth, legacy. Think about, they're all three different things. Generally, people normally focus a lot on income because you need money,
Yep.
but then they leave the other two and they don't even structure the income the most efficient way and they lose loads of money. Because one of your biggest costs is in tax.
He's a tax
and
man.
doesn't necessarily
Yes, I know.
have to be that way.
Yes,
and
I
many
know.
people don't know that. And that's where you need to invest in knowledge and get the right people around you to help support your journey. Because
Yeah.
what you don't want to do is earn £1, which is not easy to earn, and lose most of it to the tax person, which you didn't need to. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
I completely agree. I've been reading up a lot about that.
Okay, what have you been reading up? Share with the audience.
Well, I've been reading a combination from Richard Kiyosaki, some of his books, The Cash Flow Quadrant, a few others.
He's
and
really useful, by the way.
He is, yeah.
But his mindset is useful, but remember, US and UK are very different
know.
systems. In United States, America, they get depreciation as a tax deduction.
Yeah.
We have something called capital allowances, but only on specific types of properties. Most of them don't qualify. So we can't necessarily do what Richard Kiyosaki is talking about when he talks about in his property strategy.
Oh yeah, no, I'm aware of that. It's more of a mindset and getting into the right frame of mind.
And
Yeah.
he loves debt. Have you listened to?
Yeah,
love
I
this-
know he does. Yeah.
Have you listened to Dave Ramsey? Do you know
Not
what
yet.
I'm talking about?
I know who he is. If he walked in the room, I know who he is.
Right. So they're the contrast. Dave Ramsey is no debt. Robert Kiyosaki is let's get
Loads
so
of it.
much debt. And to be honest, the answer's probably in between, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. So in different parts of your journey, when you want less risk, you want less debt. But when you want to grow, you need to push out there. Debt is your friend, potentially.
Yeah.
Right? And it's getting that balance right. But then I always say, you don't necessarily need debt from a bank or third party when you can be the bank, which I was talking about earlier. That's where SaaS pensions and things like that are huge. They're entrepreneurial tools. Are you married as well? Have you got?
I'm married with 2 kids.
Well,
so
okay.
that's the part of the reason why we're doing it. Wife's not here today because she's got the kids.
Yeah.
So the next event will be she'll be here instead of me.
It's about, that's when I meant to talk about legacy. That's family.
Well, it's
Right,
not
so
so much
important.
that, right? But I've had some family members. They paid into the system their whole life.
Yeah.
He needed an operation recently, and he got £85 a week for it. That's not going to happen to me. Let's make that clear. That is not going to happen to me. I don't know the full details how I'll get there yet, but when I decide to do something, I do it, and we'll figure out the details as we go.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. A lot of people think about unlocking financial freedom, which I go a lot about on our podcast, right? But they don't really understand how to get there. And you've raised, if you've got one source of income and it
You're one
relies
step
on
away
you
from
to
poverty,
exchange
aren't you?
time for money, you're leaving yourself open.
Yeah, I don't want that.
And that's why you've got to think about being an entrepreneur and how to diversify your risk and income. Love it. Steve is lovely. I love the questions he's asking. It looks like he's going to have an exciting journey. We'll tag him in. And is there certain people that you want to be talking to, Steve? Would love a connection to?
Yeah, I'd like to be able to speak to investors because obviously I need a joint venture. I've got the time, I don't have the funds. So it'd be nice to speak to somebody who can maybe help me in that regard.
And this is like doing flips, like property investments.
Well,
doing
so
upgrades.
the initial plan will be to flip, and any profits generated will be put to one side for the next project.
Wow, okay. So anyone who's got money to invest and do some investment finance, Steve's your man. He'll be able to help you with that journey, and he's got some projects he wants to work in. So always do your due diligence. I always say this with whoever you do business with, and make sure you're happy, comfortable, and then think about the longer term, because it can be beneficial if you structure it right as well. Because there's something called about investment finance or investors relief. Look that up. That can be tax efficient for the investor.
Yeah.
So, and it can work in if you're doing flips. Love it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Perfect. Hi everyone, we're having another 2 entrepreneurs, and they're the young generation. This is what it's all about. Dan, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Mal, nice to meet you. I know we had a good chat last time, and this time they're doing the courageous thing, getting on camera, and you're gonna love it. So, how are you finding the property meet? Why do you come to St. Albans property meet?
It just realizes so many potential ideas of stuff that we could do, and then we actually meet people that can make it work, make it happen. And I don't know, sure, we come in here because we want a deal source, we want to meet investors, we want to you know, I mean, even to be honest, we want to be doing buy, refurbish, refinances. We want to be, you know, meeting people that are willing to do joint ventures with us. But really, it's education. It's just learning. You know, it's meeting all these people and realizing what we can do. You know.
Love it. So he's mentioned a lot there. Just sum that up, you know, unpack it. You was talking about the BRRRR strategy. I love how you described it. A lot of entrepreneurs want to get there. How are you finding trying to find properties to do the BRRRR strategy? Have you had any, or you're looking for some?
So we only have 2 investors at the moment.
Right, okay.
Right? And one of them we're close with, and we're actually sourcing, we're effectively bespoke sourcing them a buy light refurb to service accommodation. Just, you know, light refurb like paint job, you know, and maybe fix up.
So let me unpack that. So you're basically going to manage the whole process. So you're going to find a property, do the refurb, then sell it.
We're not doing the refurb. We're just effectively supplying the
property.
The property, yeah, and then, you know, builders and everything else that that comes with.
Are you going to supply that to them, or are they going to do it themselves?
That's something that we haven't got to that stage yet, where we've got, you know, where we actually have a property in front of them. We're like, okay, well now let's find builders to quote this, and, you know, how much it costs. I mean, to be fair, it's not. We don't even. No, I guess it doesn't. We don't need builders per se, because
It depends on what type of strategy you're doing.
Yeah.
So a lot of deal sourcing to differentiate yourself, that you're not just getting a property, you're actually managing a service and build a relationship with investors. They do the whole process, and the reason being is you can obviously make a margin, but also you're building stronger relationships with the person, because what they do is they source the property that needs a refurb thing, then they get a quote, because a lot of investors want to be hands off.
Yeah.
They want a property, get a bit of value from doing the refurb, right? And then they want to be able to rent it out. They want someone to be able to do all those 3 aspects.
Process.
Yeah? And that's how you can really drive value and make higher
money,
transaction, because
exactly.
you're not only now managing the sourcing. This is how sourcing, my opinion, what do I know? Right? This is how I see sources are successful.
Yeah.
They get the property, they help manage the refurb, then they get a letting agent to help the investors, so they've done the 3 areas, jobs are good, and then they go again.
So
Sorry,
the
Mal,
people
please.
we're talking to, we're doing some bespoke sourcing for at the moment. They're very hands-on, so they're doing the refurb themselves.
Okay.
And it's only a light refurb.
We'll find the properties, we'll work out the costs for it, and they're going to do the refurb themselves. And obviously, we'll have to. They've already got one rent-to-rent set up. So they did that themselves. They kind of know how to do it. So,
Yeah, the service accommodation side. But I mean, that's what we want to be getting into. So, you know, we need to be, you know, our knowledge down when it comes to
Knowledge, and I think it takes a bit of guts, because the first one is always scary. You need a little margin of safety. You learn so much when you actually implement, right?
you need the practical experience.
Absolutely, because a lot of people talk a game they don't actually do.
Yeah, they spend so much time learning that they don't do anything, and and achieve nothing. You know?
Yeah, and I think this is really important, especially what you guys want to do. So deal sourcing is a good way to get in.
get
Another
finance,
entry level is what they call rent to rent, right? But rent to rent does have a bit of risks, just to let you know.
Yeah.
And the reason being is if you get a property that doesn't then do the nightly rents,
Yeah.
you've got a bit of a problem.
What do you do with it?
Sorry?
Oh, you're paying off a mortgage, aren't you?
Basically without owning anything.
So you need to get one where it's high occupancy. So
Yeah.
you need to have systems.
Yeah.
So someone like Richard you met over there, have you spoken to him? The expert. Again, I will go
Probably
and
not
speak to
yet.
him because he can help manage that. Because he's got people in Philippines.
Right.
Yeah?
Oh, and I see. Yeah.
Because one of your things
Low
when you do
cost.
service company rent to rent is managing.
Yeah.
You don't want all your time taken up managing. You want it cost efficient, that you make the money.
All the channel managers and everything.
That's it. And the systems.
Constantly changing prices. You know.
Someone talking to. So important to understand that. So that's where you need to invest your knowledge to make sure you understand that and then get people to help you do it. Otherwise, you're going to run out of time.
Yeah.
Most people run out of time before they run out of money.
Before
Believe
they
it.
run out of money.
Yeah. Because as soon as you start getting flow and you start getting some cash flow coming in,
Yeah.
and you got something that's labor intensive, what happens? So you got to think about how can you make stuff automated.
I mean, we're both quite focused on automation. Like we find it just interesting, even if not,
my
you know.
favourite- That's my favourite idea of the whole thing. It's the automating everything, getting the
Yeah, yeah.
passive income coming in.
So it's so interesting. I
The
don't know.
plan is just to have a passive income coming in, so we can do what we want when we want.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm going to ask two questions. One, which area are you sourcing your properties? Which area do you focus on? Is it in Hertfordshire, this area?
Hertfordshire.
Okay,
At the moment.
at the moment.
At the
So this
yeah.
is where
We
you're looking
we
actively.
probably will go. I mean, you know, everyone talks about up north, but it is, you know, like you will find better deals there, cheaper deals maybe. I don't know, maybe not better, but cheaper for sure. And you know, we probably will focus much more, you know, heavily. It's at the moment the person that we're sourcing for, they want it in Hertford. That's why.
Got
But
it.
yes.
And then he's trying to. How are you finding, and this is probably my final question, is how are you finding the market right now? At the time we're recording this, it's March 2024. So how do you find it right now?
It's nice.
The market.
Go on,
Are
go on,
you
go on.
finding it easy to get property or hard?
There are actually a few really good deals on the market.
In this area?
If you look hard enough,
Below market value?
some really juicy deals.
And this is through relationships, or are you just looking around and then trying to find and get?
around calling up estate agents.
Yeah.
Are you going auctions a lot?
No, we're
Not
not
yet.
going to tell you.
Yeah, you need some cash for that.
Yeah.
And some really.
Plus, it's quite. I've heard it's quite risky if you don't know what you're doing at an auction.
It is.
Because
It is.
you get tied into like you know, bidding wars and all that. I mean, we're not going to be bidding for anything at the moment because we don't have money, you know.
It's
But,
a good way to get a gauge of what's happening in the market. They say the auction is the primary place, and then it happens in the marketplace. So what's happening in the auction first, then the marketplace.
So network at the auction place.
Yeah, have a look
with
to
people.
see what is happening. If the auctions are struggling, then the marketplace is struggling.
Right.
If the auctions start doing well, that means the market are going to start doing. I mean, the open market, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you got to think about. So I
see.
hope that was good tips. I think I know we talked about structuring, but I think you got some ideas and some things that you're going to do.
Can I ask you a quick
Yeah,
question?
please.
Just different. Is there, and if there is, what is the difference between a holding company and a parent company?
No, it's the same name.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's just two different ways. Yeah.
Two different
A hol-
ways, so you can set them
because
up differently.
Yeah, no,
Right.
there's two different names for the same thing.
Oh, okay. I
So
see.
what a holding company is what you hold shares
Okay.
generally, yeah. And the parent company tends to be the same because it has children, subsidiaries.
I see. Right.
Yeah. So you have your shares in your parent or holding
Okay.
company, and the subsidiary is what you do your activities in. That's the differentiation.
And then when setting up this parent company, what's it called? The model article of association, which says it can be free to use as your model, as your article of associations. I'm just like, do you know about this? And would you like? I'm assuming you'd recommend an actual tax advisor or property, to help set up the whole
Right. So
process with
being
a
an
subsidiary.
tax advisor on this,
Yeah,
right? So what
exactly.
you have to think about is when you set up, depends on what your goals are.
Okay.
So if you use the model articles to set up, they are basic.
Okay.
Yeah, simple as that. Soon as you do anything more creative, you need advice,
Okay.
right? So you need probably a combination, depending how complicated it is, of your accountant tax advisor who understands your goals and specializes in it, and maybe a lawyer
I
because
see.
it's a legal document.
Yeah.
Right? And then you can change class of shares, how you extract money out, using
see.
all this. This is where it becomes a bit more complicated. So it depends where you are in the journey. And if you're doing a investment business, do it from early days, i.e. when you're buying property to rent out. But if you're doing a trading business like sourcing, you can get away with certain stuff and mandate later because
see.
you have different reliefs.
Right.
Yeah, trading businesses, getting technical here, the boys are asking the questions, right? You can do something called gift relief and move shares,
Okay.
and it doesn't cause tax issues. Yeah, whereas investment business, you don't have that flexibility.
I see.
So unless you're married, yeah, no disrespect people these days, you're not going to have that autonomy.
Not yet,
Do
not
it
yet.
later,
Yeah.
right? Everyone to their own. Does that make sense? Was that useful?
Yes, it was useful. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
appreciate it.
And thank you. Listen, this is what I mean. I love speaking to entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs who are starting their journey and they got a lot of passion, these gentlemen, and I'm sure they do well. And you're looking for sources or people who want to sell their property as well as buyers, right?
Yes.
And then you can basically help that process. Love it. What I say, Albans Property Network, me, and we got one of the hosts, Craig. Craig, thank you for always having us and making us feel welcome.
Always a pleasure.
And Craig's got a bit of a headline. How many people tonight at the event?
We had 105 people booked for today, and the other interesting fact is over 50% of them were new here for the very first time.
Wow. And this is March as well, as we're recording. It's March 2024. The event has been really good. I love speaking to entrepreneurs. You're going to get a bit of content. And when they're a bit confident enough to actually speak on the camera, they do, and they add huge value. And that all because of Craig and Julie and all the great stuff they're doing. Hopefully Julie will be back from Marrakesh at the
She
moment.
is sunning herself in lovely Marrakesh at the moment.
And also, Craig, we always get update on your project.
Oh, amazing. So in Later Buzzard, our planning application finally got approved. So it was down to the wire though. We actually had 3 councillors voting for it, 3 councillors voting against it, and 3 councillors abstaining. So it literally went to the chairman of the planning committee, who had the presiding vote.
Wow.
Even though he didn't particularly like our scheme, he couldn't find a particular planning policy to block it, so therefore he had to approve it because the whole basis of the NPPF is that in favour of planning development. So yes, we've now got the planning for a 2,500 square
Love
foot,
it.
5-bedroom house.
I want to, wow. I was going to just say a couple of numbers quickly. People always love. What's the GDV on this project?
Well, that one is going to cost about 400,000 to build, and it will be selling for about 950,000 because it's in a real affluent
So
area
how
of
much
Leighton
did you
Buzzard.
cost to buy the land?
Well, that's
Or-
the interesting thing. We actually bought it. It was literally the smallest house on the biggest plot.
Right.
So we're actually going to renovate the existing property,
Yeah.
using permitted development to extend that. So we'll
Yeah.
get all of the money back. So effectively, the land for the new thing is effectively free because of the
Wow.
uplift
Oh.
on the existing property.
So what do you think the return on GDV you're looking at? 30, 40%?
Yeah, it's about 40% on that particular project.
That's what you've got to be looking at in projects right now, especially with the moving costs, labour, materials, and prices potentially dropping if you're selling. Are you going to sell? Is that what you're
Yeah,
going to call?
both of those are going to
Wow,
be
so
sold.
he's doing the development. Hopefully you've got good tax advice structure in that. But this is what you get from this event. You meet people who experience in all different levels. That's what Craig was talking about. This is why you got to get down. When's the next event?
Well, it's the first Thursday of every month. So, you know, come along and you'll get to meet a whole load of amazing people. We're right at the end, so it's quiet now, but we've had 105 people booked.
Wow.
The other thing, we have like badges. So people who are newbies, they have a blue sticker so that people then know that it's the first time they've ever been here. So it then
Wow.
makes it easy for all our regulars to come and introduce all the new people.
And
once
also-
they've been here once, then the next time they come, they're on the white sticker, which is everybody else. And then VIP ambassadors like Z have the yellow stickers, so it then
Very
helps
humbled. Thank
people.
you so much. I didn't even know that. That's really useful. It's also to help, and it's your network and the way you guys make people feel. I always say this: if you get a good group where people are helping me introduce each other, that makes a huge difference because then you don't worry that I don't know no one.
Yeah.
And
So on the
love it.
stickers, they basically says, I am called, you know, whatever their name is, and it says I am, and they put what they do. So there might be an investor,
it.
might be a landlord, and then at the bottom, the neat bit is say I am looking for. So each month they can change what they're looking for. So one month it might be a planning consultant, the next month it might be an architect. We actually had 3 architects here today,
Wow.
so it's amazing.
And also we had Richard, who was giving loads of advice around how to grow businesses. Richard,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah. So last month Z was our expert in the corner. This month we had Richard Evans, who runs over 220
And he's on the
Filipino
videos.
virtual assistants
loves
on there. They can do architectural drawings. They can do searching for property. Anything about property you can outsource through Vive.
We had a proper catch up with him as well. Got to thank you. We're putting to the end. Obviously, another great property meet. Really love it. And obviously, we'll put the Craig on the comments and all the contacts, so you'll be able to easily go for next one if you want to come. Invest in knowledge, invest in your network. These are one of the shows or
Check it out on
events that you want to
Eventbrite.
do.
Free to
Love it.
attend.
Love it.
You know, we had 105 people booked for today. So every single month we do it 12 months of the year.
Love it.
Come along and get to meet a whole ton of really interesting, fantastic people. So hopefully
Perfect.
see you next month.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Perfect. Perfect.